Great.
Yes.
So Niraja, you can start welcoming our attendees.
Hi. Am I audible now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. I think my AirPods are not working then. So I think we're good to go. So hi everyone. It's good evening from my part of the world. So good morning, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Niraza Bichikuti. I'm a student scholar as well as Global Advisory Board member. So today it's a very important day for us because we're finally, after much preparation, holding our webinar on mental health. Actually, we plan to do it so on the occasion of World Suicide Prevention Day, which falls on September 22. I know that as a youth, as a working individual, as a mother, sister, or whatever kind of relationship we have, we face different kind of issues in our daily life. Sometimes we try to seek help, but we don't get it, and there's so many confusions within us, right? So I think because of that, we felt that it's very important for us to understand and measure the attitudes and perceptions of regarding mental health within our scholar community and try to aware them on this aspect on the topic of mental health. So due to that, I think a month or a week ago, we had circulated a Google form with a few questions trying to understand your understanding on mental health. And we're very grateful to have received 91 responses. For this session, we have collected 10 questions from those forms. We have picked upon 10 questions, and we will be forwarding those 10 questions to our panelists during today's session. So without doing further much ado, I'd like to invite our panelist for today's session. So very first of all, our first panelist is Theodora Kapenda. She's a final year medical student, very passionate about mental health, and has volunteered as a mental health educator and advocate. Particularly, she has experience of working with children between the ages of 5 to 16 for the past 7 years. So, Theodora, please, I'd like to welcome you to this session. If you are able, it would be great if you could if your video turned on. So welcome to our panel. Likewise, we have our another speaker, Kinika. She's also a medical student, graduate scholar, very passionate about empowering youths on mental health care. She has organized numerous events and outreaches on the field of mental health. And very recently, she has organized a mental health online webinar, which allowed students a direct access to mental health doctors. So once again, welcome to the session, Ginika. And last but not the least, we have our final speaker, final panelist with us, Portia. She's a mental health nurse, a founder of Postnatal Mental Health Society of Botswana, and also a WMI Founders Award recipient. So having said that, I'd like to welcome all of our three speakers for today's webinar session. Okay, so there's so many questions we've got out of this form, and we've selectively picked a very interesting question, right? So my first question would be, well, in fact, any of the speaker can actually take up this question, right? So the first question that I want to start our session with is that, we have various interpretations of mental health and well-being, but somebody who have years of experience working in this field, how do you think people should perceive and understand mental health and well-being? I can see Theodora right across my screen, so maybe you can take up this question.
Thank you so much. I hope I am audible. So
Yes, you are.
This is a very interesting topic, and it's a topic that needs to have been talked about and continues to be talked about. So it is important that we understand that mental well-being affects how we think, how we feel, how we talk, how we interact with others, and how we make decisions. So it is important for us to put into consideration two important factors. The first factor being that every single person at different points in their life faces or is at a different point of mental well-being. And it is very important that we are supportive of one another, we are supportive of the people around us, and we are kind, because we do not know at what point of mental well-being the person that are around us are at. And the second thing that is important for us to understand is that mental health is just not the absence of mental illness, but it is also the presence of having positive characteristics such as self-awareness, self-confidence, and positive thoughts. So it's not just you not having a mental illness, but it is also you living life positively and having a positive outlook on life. So I think the other speakers can also add on to that. Thank you.
Yeah, anybody can actually go with that question if they want to continue something with it. Hello?
So it's best if you go through the question again. Sorry.
Okay, so my question was, with somebody with years of experience working in mental health, how do you want people to understand about mental health and mental well-being?
Okay, I'll just touch base on that one. Well, like Theodora has already said, my part would be people need to like normalize talking about mental health, because it's something that in the African context is like considered a taboo many a time. So it's seen as something that like characteristics of someone who's seeking for attention. Like we've had first-hand experience of that, even myself. As someone from Africa, so it's like I want people to normalize that they can talk about mental health. They shouldn't feel like they need to be judged. It's also okay to not be okay, because as much as I can go to the doctor to seek physical health, answers to my ailments, that should also be the case with mental health. So that's my take.
Okay. Yeah, so thank you so much, Theodora and Portia. I think we really started our discussion with a very good understanding about what mental health and well-being is. So my another question would be for Ginika. So as we see that in today's time, there are a lot of mental health problems that our youth are facing globally, right? So what do you think are the most common type of mental health problems that we see across the country, and what might be the causes of those problems from your perspective?
Okay, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here to talk about this particular topic on mental health. And to add to what was said about mental health can range from behaviors, our way of thinking, not just it can happen to anybody despite their social class or social status. And as students or as teenagers or as adults, the most common mental health problem that we have is mostly depression. We have social anxiety, we have panic attacks, we have eating disorder, we have both the eating disorder, then the one that is more common is now the body image and disorder. So depression, most times people think depression is more of like, okay, like someone will be like, I'm depressed. The person will be equating depression with sadness. But depression is more than being sad. You can most times when we talk about depression, you can have a picture of someone that is sad, but you can also have a picture of someone that's actually very happy, but the person is actually depressed, because depression can include both sadness, lack of interest. It also can even mean lack of self-worth, can include suicidal thoughts. So someone that is depressed is not just someone that is being sad. It also includes other things that makes it more severe. So most times, even me, I've misused the word depressed, but it is not just you being depressed. I think it's equates to suicidal thoughts and lack of self-worth, feeling of loss of interest in other things. Then social anxiety can be equated to maybe you are feeling you don't want to go out because you feel like you are going to be judged. You don't want to talk about things because you feel like you will not be able to talk about those things where. Then eating disorder can range from anorexia to you binge eating because of maybe you don't want to eat because of you feel like you are in a particular, you want to like you are fat, or you are eating too much because you feel like you are slim. Then the social media, the body image disorder, that you feel okay, people are not undergoing surgery because they feel like they want to be a particular shape because of the celebrities, maybe Kardashians, they want to be this particular shape. So it ranges from different, even panic attack. Panic, I always like explain panic attack is kind of situation whereby, like an example, like it feels like that time that maybe you want to fall, you are like you sleep and you want to fall down from the staircase and you mistakenly fall, but you not fall. That kind of feeling that you have, that kind of period is what someone will have when person is having panic attack. Then anxiety disorder is mostly you having palpitation and all sorts of things like that. So all these are the most common mental health disorder that we have, and this can happen to anybody. Like I said, even there we have more from mild to severe. You can have the very mild mental health illness, or you can have the very severe ones, but it doesn't mean that you something is wrong with you. It's just normal. It's just like a normal physical illness that should not be stigmatized against. You should be able to open up when you have this issue so that you can work on it on time. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I think you also touched base upon how depression would look like. It always does not come with a sad face. Even happy people can be a victim of depression. And I think it can be my next follow-up question regarding this would be to Theodora, right? So even personally, I feel that sometimes we are unable to, differentiate whether what we are feeling is just a strong emotions or a sign of a mental illness. So how can someone tell that what they are feeling at the moment is just a lasting emotion or a symptom of a mental health problem? At what point should a person realize that they might need to get help?
Okay, so the point that someone should realize that they need to get help is when it is like not normal anymore, in the sense that it's a constant, it's not a constant something like, okay, let's say today now you have anxiety, like just normal anxiety. Then it's not like the next day you are having anxiety, the next time you are faced with a situation you're having anxiety. So when it's consistent for it must not be, the reasons for those anxiety might not be the same, but you just notice that you have the same consistent reason. Maybe you're having panic attack and it's consistent, it has happened more than once. So I feel like at that point in time you should seek help, or you should talk to a friend that could evaluate it with you, and then you will now know, okay, this is not the normal, this is something I have to look at. Thank you.
Okay, just Theodora, do you have anything to add on to it?
Yes, I actually have something to add on. So just like she mentioned that if it's constant and if the intensity keeps increasing, like the level of anxiety that you had yesterday, but today the level of anxiety that you have is more, and the level of anxiety or depression that you feel is actually even more the other day. Then the other thing that's important to note when you should seek help is if it has begun to affect your daily activities. If you are feeling like you can no longer do what you normally do, you were once interested in art or you were once interested in singing, and suddenly you don't feel like singing anymore. Suddenly you don't feel like dancing anymore. It's the little things that will show that this feeling is persisting. Your sleeping patterns have changed. You're failing to sleep. You're having insomnia, or you're spending most of your days sleeping. This is not a behavior that you previously had, but then now you're constantly having. The other thing you can note is that you are failing to do the normal tasks of school, of work that you previously used to do. So when you notice that these emotions have begun to leap into your personal life, where you feel polarized to do the things that you previously used to do, then you need to seek help. Yes, I think that's what I can add on that.
Okay. So basically, what I got is somebody who is just as an audience and somebody just a normal person, right? There are three things that we have to look forward to. One is whether what we are feeling is consistent, has been there over a period of time. Another is with what intensity we are feeling that emotion, and whether third one is whether that is hampering our normal day-to-day life activities or not, right? So I think when we are clear and when we assess our emotions on the basis of these three factors, then maybe we can differentiate whether what we're feeling is just an emotion or could be a sign of mental health problem. Thank you so much for clearing out on this. So my next question would be to Portia. So we talk about stigmas a lot, right? Mental health stigmas, and I think that can vary according to nations, community, and and multiple other factors. From your perspective, what do you think are actually mental health stigmas, and how does stigma around mental health issues affect the willingness of individuals to help or seek medical treatment?
Okay. Well, I'll also like touch base on that and then also give examples of things that I've already seen firsthand. So right now, since I'm in the United Kingdom, so growing up in Botswana in Africa, it's very common whereby someone is going through something like a depressive episode, and you'll get people saying that, you need to get over it, you need to just pick up yourself. There's nothing like mental health issues because these are white people thing. To be honest, I grew up just knowing that mental health issues are white people's things. So like a black person can have mental health issues. If you are going through a depressive episode, you can you can get caned up by your parents because you are considered to be misbehaving. I've seen kids with behavioral issues getting caned because they were associated with people that are misbehaving. So that on its own is already stigma, because if ever I experience something like that, I won't be able to come out of the shell and be like, I have this problem, I have this issue. And as someone who went through like postnatal depression, I remember telling a friend of mine that I'm going through something. I mean, by that time, I didn't know what it was. I just said, I think I need to see a psychologist because something is just wrong with my brain. And then she said to me, well, you can't allow demons to control your mind and all that. You need to go to church, things like that. That's also stigma. I think it's also a cultural thing, like coming from a certain culture can make it difficult for people to come out with mental health issues, and we tend to die, and a lot of suicide cases are up there in Africa because it's not normalized for us to talk about mental health issues. So if you don't give me the platform to talk about mental health issues, how am I going to talk about them, and how will it be addressed? You see, that's the problem. So that's basically more culture and just the perception, just like wrong information. So in that sense, we need to like correct the misconceptions by disseminating in more information, and at the same time like changing the policies in our governments by like basically putting in more more workers that are addressing mental health issues in the workplaces, or yeah.
Okay. Do we do another, like, Theodora, Ginika, do you have anything to add on this, particularly on mental health stigmas? Okay, so yeah, I can also relate to what Portia said. Even in my part of the world, whenever we talk, whenever somebody comes, opens up about the kind of mental health issues they are facing, for example, if somebody is there in a society, having medicines regarding depression, the normal people would find it very difficult to approach to that person, knowing that the person is going through depression. And I think somewhere more so it's the situation it seems around the world. And yeah, we need to, I think, us being aware about this issue, we do need to have a repetitive conversation on busting the myths related to mental health. And I think that is one little step through which we can help people who are going through these kind of issues. So my next question would be to Ginika. So we talked about mental health issues and nature and how does it affect people, right? So I think now it is also very important for us to emphasize on what kind of outreach programs are there or solutions are there, right? So what do you think are generally the kind of community-based solutions or interventions that we can make to address the issues related to mental health, its stigmas, and encourage people to have more open conversation? What could be the way forward?
Okay, thank you so much. So I feel so far so good on my own end. I feel like the way forward to this is first to accept that you have a mental health issue. When you accept it, you can be able to reach out, you can be able to talk about it. And if this, according to what Portia said, if the stigma that is surrounding it reduces through education of people that mental health illness is not just, it is real. It is not something that, it's not a joke. It's something that is real. Someone can actually be depressed. Someone can actually have anxiety disorder. Someone can actually have panic disorder. So if the society is well educated, the people that have this mental illness can open up, can have like a group, can open up to people around them. So there's a lot of this webinar is one of it that is made to educate people that there's where mental health illness is real. So then second thing to do is, when you have accepted, you should seek help from family and friends. Seek help you can also go to the medical doctor. They have psychiatrists that specialize in these areas. They have psychologists that specialize in these areas. So when you seek help, you can get the help you need. Then there are groups, depending on, I feel like every country have how they manage mental health illness, like from the mild to the severe. So I feel like every country, every culture have something like that. Like some, they just, when you go, there are some groups that are made for just when you come to those groups, you just meditate, you calm yourself down. Then the hospital is there, the psychiatrist is there for mental, because most times this stigma is a really big problem. Because most times people think the hospital is mostly for people with severe mental health illness, but it's not actually so. You can actually go meet a psychiatrist for mild mental health illness. So then apart from that, you have peer groups that, I mean, there's also suicide call line, depending on the countries, that in case you are having suicidal thoughts, you can actually call make calls on those call lines if they are available. Then apart from that, then seeking professional help. I talk about seeking professional care, talking to your family and friends. Then if your family and friends are well educated on the matter, they can actually rally around you during those periods. Because I feel like the first step to solving any problem is to talk about it first. So when you have talked about it, you have started solving your problem. So when with time, people will show you more love, people will show you more care, people will understand your situation, and it will get better with time. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll follow up question to that. I think it would be much more of my personal question, and I think it's going to be relevant to everyone attending this webinar as well. So what I've felt is like, we Ginika highlighted the importance of reaching out to people, talking to friends, sharing your problem, right? So I just wanted to ask, like, does it matter who we are sharing our problem with? Because I feel like most of the time, whenever I'm facing some kind of issue, I reach out to a friend of mine who is also at same stage of my life. So I doubt, okay, if we are of same age, if we are going through same kind of issues, will she be able to give me a right solution and right suggestion to it? So I personally feel like the person whom we are reaching out also matters, whether we whether they would help us come out of the solution or whether they would just even further confuse us, right? So what do you have to say on it?
So I feel it's very important that you should not just meet anybody to open up, because it's the person you meet worsen or reduce the problem. Like, you might meet someone and tell the person, oh, I have anxiety, social anxiety, just respond with laughter. So you have to, it's very important that you that is like an elder, someone that is well experienced in this kind of thing. That's why I want the need to be a professional. It must not be a trained. It might be, that's a different culture, different solution. Some people want to meet their pastor to tell, okay, this is what is going through, for them to get help. Who want to browse and get online, because there's some online resources that can also help you. You just have to like fill in and apply. So it depends. I feel like you should not want to meet maybe a friend of you that does not take mental health seriously. So there are mental health advocates everywhere. They're online. They're in your schools. Then there are mental health doctors. Like then I feel like those people are the people that would understand better and also see that you get the help that you need. Thank you.
Hmm. Okay, yeah, I think that was something that needed to be highlighted a lot. So you should reach out to a person who you think can actually take out of what you're going through in your life, and just not reach out to anybody just for the sake of reaching out. So with that, I want to move with another question, and I think this question I'd like to direct to Portia. So there's usually we have this conversation and often debate that we generally think that certain groups are more likely to have mental health issues because of certain reasons. For example, let's say women, people from LGBTQ plus community, people with disabilities and marginalized group. They're already living the less privileged life than the other people are, right? So do you think these kind of factors also affect or make them more prone to face mental health issues?
Thank you very much for the question. Well, I believe that is 100% true. For an example, I would say women versus men. For example, you find that we women are the child rearers, child minders. We take care of the household many a times, and then we have men just bringing the finances home, and then we have to make sure that everything is like intact in the home. So this is some of the things that create mental health issues in women, because they are like more isolated, and we do not take care of their mental health. We just want to find like a nice home where the kids are well taken care of. And like you also said, marginalized groups, for example, people coming from the LGBT groups and all that, because there's so much judgmental opinions about them in society. So it's hard for them to come out and be themselves around people with disabilities, because they get the weird looks, and some people just don't get it. Like they are discriminated against, like in the workplaces and all that. And even being like a Black person, it's something that you find that there's a lot of like mental health issues surrounding them, because like obviously back in the days, apartheid and things like that. So racism is still existing up to this point, and we find that these people experience mental health issues for that. But like is it Janika has already touched base on like things we need to do in order to, you know, combat mental health issues. I would also say that it should emanate from the government, like the policymakers, because as much as we can have those support groups and someone to talk to, or support in the workplace and all that, but if our policymakers are not making any initiative to make changes, like for an example, funding towards mental health, then I don't think we'll make a positive change. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's pretty much, yeah, I totally can relate to whatever you've said. So my next question would be to Theodora. So let's say as an individual, there's a friend of mine who I'm aware that she's going through some kind of issue, right? Mental health issue, and I want to support her. So in what ways I can mentally support her so that she can come out of that situation? And if I am supporting her, what are the measures that I can implement to assess the progress and success of it?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. If there is a friend or somebody that you are helping, one thing that you must first understand is you need to be patient and you need to be kind. The issues surrounding mental health are delicate issues, and for somebody to be vulnerable enough to come to you and express themselves to you, you need to be patient, you need to exercise kindness, and you need to help them get through it in simple ways. It is not just something that they can just magically get over. It is not just something that they can just magically become better. But you need to constantly be there for them. You need to constantly talk to them. You need to constantly be there to allow them to express themselves to you. And we must understand that even as we're helping this person, healing is not a linear process. It is not a straightforward process. The days where you feel like you're healing, and then the days when you feel like you're not. You have days of ups and downs, and that is okay. You need to first make them understand that mental health issues can occur to anybody. And it doesn't make them less of a human. It doesn't make them less of a person for them facing that challenge. You need to help them understand that it is okay to not feel okay, but there's a better way on how we can help each other with this. Then some of the key ways that you're able to measure success is you need to have regular assessments. You need to constantly check up on the person, constantly ask them how they're feeling, constantly ask them how they're faring, constantly check up on their emotions, on their feelings. How many happy days do they have? How many positive feelings do they have? What are their thoughts? Find out more about what they're thinking. It is important that you regularly assess them. The other thing is that you can be able to see if they're having an improvement is their daily functioning. Have they improved their sleeping patterns? Have they improved their appetites? Have they improved on doing simple and easy tasks? And you can help them by helping them get out of bed, helping them exercise, helping them move about, be there. Helping somebody facing a mental issue is not easy, but you have to constantly be there. Then the other thing that you can note is help them build healthy coping mechanisms. Help them handle stress in a healthy way. Help them see things in a better way. And have positive affirmations. Get them a book. Let them journal out their thoughts. Let them write out positive things, because our mind has a habit on only focusing on negative things. But every day, help them write out positive things, things that they can look forward to in life. I think the other speakers can also add on that.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody had something to add to it, you can continue with what Theodora said. Yeah, but I think, yeah, Ginika, are you trying to say something?
Yeah. So I just want to
Yeah,
add,
sure.
I want to add that in as much as we want to help these people, we should encourage them to. They can also help themselves too, by if they are having any if they're in some areas where they can help themselves too, like in like they can reduce the expectation that they place on themselves. They can become happier if they reduce the expectation, the goals they place on themselves. Like they should stop comparing themselves with people. And I think with that, they can also help them to take their drugs. And if they have drugs to take, they also be there for them. Then generally, Theodora said most of the things. I just wanted to just add to what she said. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, totally. So I just got a very too interesting point to what Theodora said. So first thing is that patience is the key. Sometimes we just forget about being patient to people who are going through mental health issues, and I think giving that time and hearing them out rather than suggesting them things, I think that's the most simple thing that we can do. And yes, like healing is not a linear process. It might take time, and some might even take more time, and I think we should also be patient with that factor as well. So thank you so much for sharing that insightful thing. To our attendees, to our participants, we will give you a chance to directly ask your question or put forward your question to our panelists. Through this session, you can either do it through your chat, or maybe you can just use that raising hand icon, and then you yourself can ask a question to the panelists. So there are a few questions from my side, and after I'm done, the floor is all yours, basically. So the one last question that I would want to get addressed is that in today's youths, I see this thing a lot, that they sort of sabotage themselves. There's this term called self-sabotage, like I'm not good enough, I'm not capable enough. They constantly compare themselves with other, and I think with the rise of social media and all, we constantly find ourselves comparing our lifestyle, the way we look, to others, and I think there's no denial to it. So how do you think we can just get through all of this thing and maintain our sanity in the most best possible way? How do we stay positively affirmed with ourselves and just focused in our life?
I would basically say that firstly, sometimes it's caused by parents, actually comparing their kids to others that are performing much better. So how about we parents act better, first of all? How about we stop comparing our kids to other kids and in the process putting them through these episodes of self-sabotage? Because I'm someone also that's been compared with other kids, like so and so has this, how come you don't have that? Like this is someone who's the same age as me, you know what I mean? And then there's a part of like, let's normalize therapy. Let's
Oh. Hello, I think.
Oh, am I audible?
Yeah, I think you just froze in between. Yeah, now you're completely audible.
Oh, okay. All right. Where was I? I was saying, you find that someone is actually very intelligent. Everyone is actually worthy, by the way. And so let's just normalize going to therapy. Let's normalize going to counseling services. Yes. That's my take on that.
Okay. I think maybe Ginika and Theodora maybe have something to add on this.
Yes, I can also add on this is the important thing that one needs to realize is not everything that we see online is real. We need to accept that people only show us half of the image. They only show us a perfect picture or a perfect life. So it is quite unfair for you to compare yourself to people online. And then the other thing I've noticed with comparison is that we are all at different levels in life. I can't compare my level 1 to somebody's level 15. They took 15 years to get there. They took growth. They took building. I too might need to build. So I can't compare and make myself feel like I'm less of a person because of where I'm at now with somebody who has probably taken years to get there. So we need to exercise love and patience with ourselves. We can't always compare ourselves to others because all of us are unique in one way or the other. Because imagine if we're all the same, the world would be really blunt, the world would be really boring. But we all have our special attributes, we all have our special talents. Just because I can't do one thing doesn't make me less. There's a parable that I really enjoy that talked about if you bring a fish on land, they will feel useless. But if you put the fish in water, they'll feel very much useful. So you can't ask a fish to climb a tree. Their special talent is swimming. So maybe if you feel less of a person, maybe you're in the wrong field. Maybe you're in the wrong sector. Maybe you're around the wrong people. You need to surround yourself with people that are alike. Because if you're a fish and you surround yourself with monkeys that climb trees, you'll feel very useless. So for us to stop comparing ourselves to others, we need to normalize, or we need to accept that we're each unique and we're each amazing in our own different ways, and that's okay.
Yeah, Theodore, I feel like I personally needed that affirmation in my life currently at this point of time. Because there's this famous saying that we're exactly where we are supposed to be. And I always live by that thing. And I think she beautifully explained analogically about how maybe if we feel like if somebody's making us feel like we're not enough or we're lacking something, then maybe we're not with the right group of people. So I think that is also something we really need to be, which we really need to self-reflect on ourselves as well. So I feel like both of our speaker had said pretty much about it. So is there anything that you want to add, Kanika? Or maybe we should just give a chance to our participant to ask questions.
I feel like Shoja, I've said everything. Nobody can be you. You're the only one that can be you. Nobody can be you more than you. So I think that is just summary of everything she said. So it's perfect.
Okay, so we still have few more minutes, in fact 15 minutes and so to be exact, to address the questions of our participants. So if you have any question regarding mental health or any kind of help that you are seeking, then maybe you can direct your question to our panelist right here. So for that, you can use our live question and answer tool, or you can just forward your question through chat section as well. So right now I am just checking the chat section. I don't see any question as of now, but maybe you can add on question on chat sections. So before we stay idle, I just wanted to ask one question, and anybody can address that as well. So globally, there's so many things that are being done and happening, to break the taboo related to mental health issues, and how to educate people on it. Because Genika also rightly mentioned that first we need to accept what we are feeling, and second is that today if we see, a lot of people know about what cancer is, but not many people know what mental health is still in lot part of the world, right? So what are the kind of global mechanisms and help that are happening around the world to address this issue, or to destigmatize this issue? Maybe you could talk something on that.
So basically, like someone who's I currently stay in England, and obviously I could see the discrepancy between the healthcare system in England and the healthcare system in Africa. So basically, is the policy making. I see that in other countries, especially the developed ones, the policies support mental health in an advanced way, like the kind of funding, as much as like physical health is also funded, mental health is also funded. Like I realized that in Africa, they don't even follow the Mental Health Act in order to, to form policies based on mental health. How are you going to provide better services if you do not follow the Mental Health Act, if you do not follow legislation and policy, if you know what I mean? So it really starts from the roots, like I said before, policymakers.
Okay, Nika and Theodora, do you have any different opinion to add on it?
Okay, so I just want to add that apart from the policymakers that Portia mentioned, I feel that in Nigeria, in short, in Africa as a whole, mental health is not being tackled. Like with the way things are going in each African countries, I feel like a lot of Africans are more like there are more people having more mental health issues, more teenagers, more adults having mental health issues. So, but I know of very few like a lot, like compared to before, people now are very, very conscious about it because a lot of people have died. Even it has not been long, a student died of suicide. So people are now more this is a problem, no, we need to do something about it. So I know of this monthly, I think there's a mental health day that people do webinars on Twitter. There's a platform that they share to people. Then a lot of people are not talking about it compared to before. So I feel like if you're very conscious, you see a lot of platforms that talk about mental health because it's not very open. It has not been even been long. Like last week, I saw a post for a mental health that is going to take place in Lagos next month. So, and they tell people to register for it and talk about so that they can there's going to be a session to like talk so that they can, of professionals that they can talk to. So I feel now people are now seeing the more reasons why they should talk about this thing, this mental health problem that I've not been talking about before. So that's what I have to say. Yeah.
I'd also like to add on what Portia and Janika said, which is very true. And we also need to improve on mental health first aid training, meaning we need to train the people around us on how to handle mental health issues. It starts from here, a webinar such as this. We've discussed many different things, and every single person that has attended here has some sort of ability on how to handle mental health issues based on the things we've learned from one another and based on the things that have been talked about. So it starts here. No man is an island. We're all surrounded by certain people. We can take this conversation home. We can take this conversation at school. We can begin to talk about it and also empower the people around us, because this mental health issue is an issue that is growing and it is big, and it needs to start now here in Africa with us, because Portia and Janika are also from Africa. I am also from Africa, and I have made it a goal to talk about it wherever I am. So let it be a topic that each of us here are able to talk about it wherever we are. Let us spread the word. Let us talk about it, because rather than as the other people are putting in policies, as the other people are making these webinars for mental health, we ourselves also have to play a part. And I would also like to add on that WMI has a YouTube page where which is focused on mental health issues. And they discuss on how to handle depression, anxiety, and various issues. So we can also check that out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. We should, from our end, do whatever we can to sort of like make this and to make our society a safe space for everyone to talk about mental health. Having said that, I've got a very interesting question. So there's this question called, is drug addiction a mental health issue because it could lead to mental knockout? So what do you have to say on it?
Well, I'm a registered mental health nurse, so basically, drug addiction wouldn't be necessarily considered as a mental health issue. However, it can create mental health issues. We've had people that have what we call drug-induced psychosis. So basically, it means that they took drugs to a point whereby the brain chemistry has been altered. to a point whereby it's now like there's no turning back. They need that period of settlement to get back to being normal, you know. Yeah.
Okay. So I hope you've got your answer. You've got your answer wherever I've asked it. So one another important question that I got it from the Google form that we had circulated was, so there's this scenario, if a pregnant mother is going through mental health issue, then how likely is it that it will transfer to her to be gonna be born baby? How basically how will that affect her baby once he or she is born?
Can I answer that?
Yeah, I think you should be, because I know you've been working
Yeah,
in this
yeah,
area.
yeah, yeah. So basically, it can affect a child a lot. From what I read previously, is that babies can actually feel the energy from a mom, even from the tummy. So um when you also give birth, after giving birth, and then you obviously have those hostile feelings towards the child absorbs those feelings of like resentment. It's like you can't notice it, but babies do actually feel the energy, and you find that the mom might neglect them, they might treat them in a certain way. It obviously affects them like mentally, physically as well. There's been studies that have been done in order to prove that actually postpartum depression, psychosis, or anxiety can actually affect babies. And yeah, basically.
Okay.
So I just want to add, sorry, I just want to add that postpartum depression, if not treated, if not addressed, can also lead to the death of the baby. Because the mom you can have like seen situations whereby the mom killed her baby because she was depressed after this. It's very, very real. It's with us. So it's not just that it will affect the baby in the sense that the mother will maltreat the baby. The mother can decide not to even feed the baby, and the baby can die. So it's really real. So
That's true.
Oh yeah, looks like, surely I think that effect unravels in multiple ways that we cannot even navigate at times. So there's another interesting question. So is it possible for a person to be completely mentally healthy? Yeah, I think maybe Theodore, I can take that question.
This is one tricky question because
Yeah.
health is quite relative. Being completely healthy is quite relative. And I would say, in my opinion, no one is 100% completely healthy, but there is a borderline of how healthy a person can be. A percentage, if I were to put it in a percentage, I would say maybe up to 90%, 95%. Because once it reaches average or below average, it's a concern. So I would put it as it cannot be 100% mentally healthy, but you can be on a higher end, on a positive end, maybe 90%, 95%. I don't know what the other panelists have to say.
Well, my take is that earlier on we discussed about factors that show that you have a mental health illness, and we were all saying, Theodora and Ginika were saying about how long it persists and all that, affecting your quality of life and things like that. So I think someone can actually be mentally stable, like 100%, in a sense that you find that just because I can have stress because of something, just because I can have anxiety because of something, does not necessarily equate to me having mental health issues. You get the point? Because there are life events, for example, an examination, a death of a loved one, that's obviously will come as a shock to everyone. So me having stress because my aunt passed away, or me having anxiety because I have an examination, or right now I don't have money to pay my bills, it doesn't mean I have mental health issues. You know what I mean? So I for one feel that you can be 100% mentally stable.
Does Kanika have anything to say on it?
So like Theodora said, it's very relative. So I feel even someone that has been diagnosed of having anxiety disorders, all kind of disorders, can actually be mentally okay at that point in time. So I feel like it depends on the situation, the timing, the what is the person doing about it. So I feel like just like the way that someone can have malaria and get treated, someone can actually have a mental health illness, and at that point in time, the person is taking drugs, seeing friends and friends, seeing the people that could help him get better, and he's okay at that point in time. So I feel it's just like health is a complete state of well-being. So if at that point in time the person is not having the symptoms, the person is actually mentally okay. Even someone that have not had the symptoms is mentally okay. So I feel like you can actually be mentally okay, have a complete mental well-being if at that point in time, maybe tomorrow not the same, but at that point in time you have it, you're okay, you're completely okay. So
Yeah, I also feel the same, right? Same like asking, can you be physically fit every time? No, right? Sometimes we feel fatigue, sometimes we've got our headaches, and So I think with mental health also, it seems we can be at spectrum of it, maybe not completely mentally healthy or vice versa of it. So we have almost come to the end of the session. We talked about a lot of things. I feel like, even the person who had a very little understanding of mental health or did not have understanding at all from this session had something to know about what mental health is and what are the things that we can do to sort of like adopt a very healthy lifestyle. And if somebody is facing some kind of issues, how can we be allied to them? I think our conversation ranged across multiple topics, and in some way or the other, I feel like we can relate to whatever has been talked and discussed about today. And before we could wrap up, I would like to say that mental health issue is a pertinent issue and it's a global issue. Everyone is facing some kind of mental health illness, especially in today's time, in one way or the other. I think the best we can do is to try to understand their issue, try to listen to what they have to say, and be their ally. Any last words before we wrap up our session to our speakers? If you have any last word, maybe last thing that you want to say to everyone who have attended today's meeting.
Oh, well, my last word would be like, it's okay to not be okay. Whenever you feel like you're not feeling okay, seek help. That's my last words.
From Theodora, Ginika, any last thing that you would like to say, line or whatever you feel like saying before we say goodbye to our attendees?
My last words are, let us be kind to one another. Let us be a support system for others. As we are seeking support, let us be there for others as well. Thank you.
So my last word is that we should seek support in case if we are having any mental health symptoms. We should not just stay back and hope it will go or be ashamed of it. We should not be ashamed of it. We should seek help, and then we should celebrate small victories. We should have self-compassion on ourselves, and things are going to get better, hopefully. Thank you.
Okay, so I think that's a good way to end our session. Thank you so much to our panelists for taking out our time and doing this for us. I mean, it means a lot to us and our scholar community. I'm sure this would be in some way a kind of help and some kind of a knowledge igniter for all of them. So thank you so much for your time. I hope we get to collaborate and work on mental health topics and other kind of sessions also in our future. So having said that, thanking you all and even the participants for taking out your time and joining the session. It means a lot to us. Thanking everyone from the bottom of my heart. I feel like now it's time that we say goodbye. So thank you so much. Bye-bye. Have a good time.
Bye, everyone.
So can we just take a picture? I feel like Isaac is saying, so can we actually, Dr. Isaac, what should we do? Should we stay?
Yes, where you can stay with the panelists, yeah, for a brief moment.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, maybe you can give us a countdown so that we can do our little cute poses.
But can you see everybody's face on your screen? I'm using a note, so I'm not able to see everyone's face.
Yeah, everyone is visible.
Okay, then you can take the shot from your end.
Okay, I can take from my end as well. So I think I'll just give a countdown to 3 and then maybe we can get ready for it. Okay, so 1,
Okay.
2, and 3. Okay, good. I think we all look good. Okay, so bye-bye, everyone. Have a good time.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.